Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we're tackling something I think we all feel, right? Why does life just seem to fly by? And can a Roman philosopher from 2,000 years ago, someone who dealt with emperors and exile and, near-death stuff, actually help us with that now?
We're diving into some notes and discussion transcripts about on the shortness of life. It's this really powerful piece by Seneca, the ancient Roman philosopher.
Yeah, so our mission here is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Get straight to Seneca's big ideas about time. We'll touch on his life because, honestly, it was incredibly dramatic, seriously, like a thriller movie, but with more philosophy.
Right.
But we're only doing that because it really helps understand why he felt so strongly about making the most of your time. Then we just zero in on the key takeaways from his writing. Expect some wild history, maybe a few laughs at the absurdity of it all, and hopefully some real aha moments about your own time. Okay, let's get into it.
All right. So Seneca, who was this guy?
Right. Lucius Annaeus Seneca, a major figure back then, philosopher, top speaker, big deal in politics, even wrote plays, lived 4 AD to 65 AD, so what, 61 years? Pretty good for those times.
And he had a leg up. His dad was also famous,
Yeah.
a writer and rhetorician, basically an expert in communication, how to speak and write persuasively.
So like a rich second-gen kid, but with brains and killer communication skills.
Kind of, yeah. Inherited those skills, super
Yeah.
smart, loved philosophy from the get-go,
Yeah.
became respected and influential really young. He was definitely on the up and up.
Which naturally caused problems.
Exactly. When he was around 33, his popularity apparently rubbed the young emperor Caligula the wrong way.
Oh, boy. Caligula. Not exactly known for being reasonable, was he?
Huh. No, that's putting him mildly. Caligula was famously erratic,
Yeah.
a tyrant. The sources say Caligula, who was only like 27, got jealous of Seneca's talent and influence and just, boom, sentenced him to death.
Wow. Just like that. Imagine your boss deciding you're too good at your job, so off with your head. It really shows how terrifyingly random life could be under someone like that.
Yeah, that old saying, got talent, maybe keep it quiet, seems relevant here. But incredibly, Seneca dodged it. Caligula heard Seneca had asthma.
Asthma.
Yeah, which back then was seen as basically incurable, like a slow death sentence anyway.
So Caligula thought, why bother killing him? He's going to die soon anyway. That's twisted logic.
Totally twisted. But hey, it worked out for Seneca. A very dark kind of luck, but it must have hammered home how fragile life is,
Absolutely. And the drama just kept rolling. Only 2 years later, Caligula himself, still young, gets assassinated.
Right. The sources mention widespread discontent, big spending, taxes, plus some faction maybe wanting to overthrow the whole imperial system.
But the emperor's family moved fast. They instantly made Caligula's uncle, Claudius, the new emperor, save the dynasty.
Super quick reaction. But then came the fallout. Investigations, paranoia, people pointing fingers to get rid of rivals.
And Seneca gets dragged into it again. Seriously.
Yep. Someone implicated him, claimed he was involved because, one, he obviously had a grudge against Caligula, right?
Yeah.
And two, that he was having an affair with the new empress's sister.
Okay, hold on. Roman family trees always melt my brain. The new empress is Agrippina the Younger.
Correct.
Her sister is the one Seneca supposedly had an affair with, and Caligula, the dead emperor.
Was their brother.
Right. Siblings. Agrippina, her sister, Caligula. Got it.
Yeah.
And Agrippina didn't like her sister much.
Apparently not. So that affair story probably just cooked up a political hit job, really.
Yeah.
The sister ended up executed by her own family. She was only 22.
Man, brutal. What about Seneca?
Emperor Claudius looked into it, couldn't find real proof connecting Seneca to the assassination plot.
Huh.
So instead of death, he got exiled. Sent off to Corsica, which was pretty desolate back then.
Okay, so exiled, not executed. I guess that counts as reasonable for the time. Seneca was 45, dodged death, saw an emperor killed, now shipped off based on likely trumped-up charges. Must have been crushing.
Oh, initially, yeah, total devastated. But this is where things shift, according to the notes. He didn't just despair.
He saw it as a sabbatical?
Sort of, an opportunity, really, for intense philosophical study, self-improvement. He spent 8 years there, writing a ton, not just letters, but deep philosophical essays.
Like that consolation to Helvia,
Oh.
to his mom.
Exactly. She lost a lot of people. He basically tells her, don't worry about me, Mom. I lived right. Exile is just a change of address, doesn't touch my inner self, which is pretty remarkable.
And it really cemented his Stoic views, didn't it? There's that line the sources mention.
If you haven't learned to suffer, the suffering you endure is in vain, meaning you have to engage with suffering, learn from it, accept it. Don't just let it happen to you.
Which leads us to Stoicism itself. And this is where it gets really interesting, the parallels with Taoism, with Lao Tzu.
It's uncanny, right? Both see the universe as having this inherent order, this natural law you should follow. The Stoics called it logos.
Logos, Greek for word, reason, principle, all that. And the crazy part is logos gets translated as word in the Bible. John 1:1. In the beginning was the word.
And wait for it. The ancient Chinese translation of that same Bible verse, they used Tao.
Mind blown. Seriously. You've got Greek-Roman philosophy with logos, ancient Chinese philosophy with Tao, the underlying principle, the source, the way popping up around the same time.
Who does that happen? Is it just coincidence or, as the notes cheekily suggest, like some kind of collective consciousness, Akashic records type thing? Who knows? But
Yeah.
it's fascinating.
It really is. And Stoicism, like Taoism, is all about focusing on what you can control, your mind, your reactions, your desires, and accepting what you can't, like death or, crazy emperors.
Exactly. Focus inward. That's where true peace, true happiness lies, according to them.
Okay, so Seneca's in exile for 8 years, deep in philosophy mode. He's 53. Then, bam, recalled to Rome.
And guess who arranges it? Agrippina, the empress,
Yeah.
one who's sister.
Yeah.
Roman politics, never boring. Why did she want him back? One reason. Her son, Nero. He was 11. Agrippina knew Seneca was brilliant, the best tutor around.
Nero. We go.
Remember, Roman imperial marriages were often political tools, alliances between families. Agrippina's son, Nero, wasn't Emperor Claudius's biological son. Claudius had a biological son, the heir.
So Agrippina was playing the long game. She needed Nero to be super capable, super impressive, to maybe leapfrog the actual heir.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She needed the best education money could buy, essentially. So she got Seneca. He took the job better than exile. Tutored Nero for 5 years.
5 years of Stoic philosophy lessons. Wonder how much stuck.
Well, let's see. Soon after, Emperor Claudius, after about 13 years of pretty decent rule, dies suddenly. Food poisoning.
Lemmus, Agrippina.
Most historians think so, yeah. Apparently, Claudius was getting wary of her plotting for Nero. She likely struck first.
Gunpowder plays 101. So Nero becomes emperor at 16.
16-year-old emperor, Seneca, now 58, becomes his key advisor. And Agrippina, she's the power behind the throne, the regent empress dowager.
Yeah. And knowing Agrippina, she wasn't exactly subtle about it.
Not at all. Ruthless, controlling, tried to rule through Nero. But as Nero got older, he started pushing back. She even threatened to back his younger stepbrother, Claudius's actual son, if Nero didn't toe the line.
Ooh, bad move. What happened next?
Shortly after, the stepbrother was poisoned. Most fingers point to Nero.
Okay, so Seneca taught him philosophy. Agrippina taught him other methods.
It seems that way. And Seneca's role was more tutor than political strategist at that point, focusing on character. But Nero's ambition, fueled by his mother, took over. And then, 5 years into his reign, Nero's 21. He has his own mother killed.
He killed Agrippina. How?
Wild story. First, he tried to drown her by rigging a boat to collapse.
Seriously?
Yeah, but she was a strong swimmer, apparently, and survived. Swam ashore, figured someone else attacked her, and sent a messenger to Nero to say she was okay.
Oh, no.
Nero seized the chance. He claimed the messenger was actually an assassin sent by her to kill him. Total fabrication. Immediately sent soldiers, and boom, Agrippina was dead.
Wow. The level of paranoia and violence is staggering. Seneca must have been horrified.
You have to imagine. After Agrippina's death, things got even more unstable. Nero more tyrannical. Seneca clearly wanted out. He was done with the palace drama.
And this is the context for On the Shortness of Life.
Exactly. He wrote it during this period, trying to step back. It's actually framed as a letter to a guy named Paulinus.
Who is Paulinus?
A very important dude. High-ranking official, senator, later maybe like a prime minister, running huge state projects under Nero. Incredibly busy.
The perfect audience for Seneca's message, then.
Precisely. The core message is basically, hey, Paulinus, my friend, you're drowning in work for other people, for the state. Stop. Focus on yourself. Life is short.
Okay, so let's finally dig into the book itself. Seneca starts by acknowledging that feeling, right? People on their deathbeds often feel like life was way too short, like it ended before they really lived.
Yep. We've all maybe felt a twinge of that.
Yeah.
But then comes Seneca's first big twist. He says, actually, no, life isn't short.
Wait, what? After everything he saw, people getting killed left and right, he thinks life isn't short. How?
His argument is that we're given plenty of time. Decades, usually. That's a long span for one person. The problem isn't the amount of time. It's how we use it.
Exactly. It's that we waste it. We're terrible at using our time effectively. We fritter it away. That's why it feels short, not because
Oh,
it is short.
okay. Okay, that lands differently. It's a user error, not a design flaw.
Right. He uses this great analogy with wealth. Imagine you inherit a fortune, huge amount of money. But you spend it like crazy, give it away carelessly, let people just take it from you. You'll end up broke fast, won't you? No matter how much you started with.
Yeah, obviously.
Time, he says, is the same. It's our ultimate wealth. Yet think about it. We guard our property, our money, fiercely. Someone tries to take your land. You fight back.
For sure. But our time, people constantly demand it, waste it with trivial stuff, pointless meetings, endless obligations, and we just sort of let them. We give away this incredibly precious, non-renewable resource like it's nothing. Why protect money but not time?
Ooh, that's a really short point. He'd probably ask us to do a time audit, wouldn't he? Like
That's
actually
true.
track it.
He absolutely would. How much time really do you spend purely on yourself each day?
I'm almost afraid to calculate that.
It can be confronting.
Yeah.
And he makes this key distinction. Time for yourself is free time. Time you choose how to spend, doing what you want, what matters to you. Time spent doing stuff you have to do for others, stuff you feel obligated to do, work you don't fundamentally choose or value for its own sake. That's time spent for others, or maybe even wasted time.
So, like, if you love your job, truly love the process, and feel it's your thing, maybe that counts as time for yourself.
Potentially, yes, if it aligns with your inner purpose. But if you're just doing it because you have to for the paycheck for someone else's demands, Seneca would likely categorize that as time spent not on yourself. Even watching this deep dive, if you're genuinely curious, time for you. If someone forced you, well, sorry about that, but it's time for them.
Huh, okay. And if you actually did the math, subtract sleep, basic needs, work, obligations, how much is left? For a lot of people, probably not much.
Depressingly little, maybe. And Seneca says a big reason we're so careless with time is that we act like we're immortal. We just assume we have endless amounts of it stretching out ahead.
Yeah, we plan for retirement, for someday when. We think, I'll relax and live for myself later.
That, Seneca argues, is the biggest mistake. Because life's length isn't guaranteed. Nobody knows how much time they really have. He asks, basically, death or tomorrow, which one gets here first. You just don't know. Death often shows up unannounced.
So planning to finally live when you're 40 or 60 or rich, it's foolish because you might not even get there.
Total folly. The only time you actually possess, the only time you can control, is right now, this very moment. So you have to live each day for yourself, intentionally, as if it might be your last.
Because, well, it might be.
And time keeps ticking by regardless. Whether you're spending it wisely or poorly, it's moving forward. You've got to start living for yourself now, before you run out of runway, or you'll look back with huge regret.
Wow. Okay, so that completely reframes his idea about life's length. It's not about your lifespan in years on a calendar.
No, it's about the amount of time within that lifespan that you actually spend on yourself.
So, by his logic, someone could live to be, say, 30. But if they spent most of those years pursuing their own interests, learning, experiencing things they valued, they've lived a longer life.
Then someone who lives to 80 but spent almost all of it grinding away at a job they hated, constantly busy with obligations, never having time for their own thoughts or passions. That 80-year life might feel incredibly short and empty in retrospect.
Maybe shorter than even 20 years lived authentically. Paulinus, the guy he wrote the letter to, stuck in state affairs. Even if he lived 1,000 years like that, Seneca implies, it wouldn't be a life lived for Paulinus.
Exactly. And he emphasizes that youth is especially valuable for this self-cultivation, for building that inner life, because your energy and opportunities might diminish later.
He also talks about the parts of time, right? Past, present, future.
Yeah, the past is fixed, can't change it. The future is uncertain, don't know what it holds. The present, it's fleeting, gone as soon as it arrives.
So where's the value? What do we actually keep?
The only thing you truly accumulate, the only real asset from your time, according to Seneca, is the past, specifically your memory.
Memory. That's the wealth we build.
Isn't that a great way to put it? Things you do that don't create meaningful memories, experiences that don't enrich your inner world. Were they really worth the time in the long run? He used an example like, imagine spending 30 years just playing video games. Fun in the moment? Maybe. But if the entire memory of those 30 years boils down to one sentence, was that time invested well?
It's not just about fleeting pleasure, but about building a rich tapestry of experiences, thoughts, relationships inside you. That's the stuff you carry.
Right. And someone with that rich store of memories who feels they've truly lived won't fear death in the same way. They've had their fill. But someone whose life was thin on meaningful experience might face the end with terror and regret. And obviously, he means building good memories, not just accumulating trauma.
Of course. So who does Seneca think has the best shot at this kind of happy, self-directed life?
Philosophers, naturally.
Ah, of course he'd say that.
Well, his reasoning is they spend their days thinking about things they find interesting,
Yeah.
pursuing wisdom, understanding the world. Their time is almost entirely their own, dedicated to internal growth, not constantly reacting to external demands.
Maybe we're getting a little taste of that right now, thinking about these ideas. And he has that cool concept about reading, right? Like you can borrow other people's lives.
Yeah, reading the great thinkers, the ancient philosophers, it's like downloading their experiences, their memories, their wisdom. You get to live vicariously through them, almost make friends across time, like feeling connected to Lao Tzu or Adler, or
Yeah,
hopefully people feel a connection listening to us hash this out.
absolutely. And the flip side is if you don't invest time in yourself, in your own thoughts and experiences, you won't have your own story to tell, your own memories to cherish. Your inner life will feel barren.
So to boil it all down, Seneca's saying the real length of your life is measured by the time you dedicate to yourself. Spend more time doing what genuinely matters to you, build those meaningful memories, and your life won't just feel longer. It will be longer in the only way that counts. It'll be richer, more fulfilling.
And the letter ends with him basically begging Paulinus, dude, quit the high-stress job. Use your talents for yourself before it's too late.
Pretty much, yeah. A very direct plea.
Did Seneca follow his own advice? Did he quit?
He did. He actually resigned from his official positions not long after this. And he even gave a huge chunk of his wealth to the state, really walking the talk about external things not being the point. Only time, experience, memory mattered.
Good for him.
Well, what did he do then?
He spent his last years mostly at home writing. That's when he produced his huge collection of moral letters to Lucilius, like 124 letters, packed with philosophical advice. Probably meant for a broad audience, not just one person.
But even retiring didn't save him from Nero, did it? Sadly, no. At age 61, the drama caught up with him one last time. He got implicated in a supposed conspiracy against Nero. Sources suggest it might not have even been real. Nero might have just wanted him gone, maybe resented his old tutor
So Nero ordered him.
to commit suicide, which Seneca did. Calmly, apparently surrounded by friends and his wife. His wife actually tried to kill herself too, right there with him, but Nero's guards stopped her. Maybe Nero wanted to look merciful, who knows?
What a grim ending. But it underlines his point, doesn't it? Death comes when it comes, not when you schedule it.
A very stark final lesson. And beyond time, Seneca wrote amazing stuff on controlling anger, on happiness, on gratitude, and giving, on benefits. Really practical wisdom.
His influence was huge, right? Especially later during the Renaissance. And that connection to early Christianity is fascinating, too. Living at the same time as Jesus, his ideas resonating. Pretty interesting overlap.
Absolutely. So that's the whirlwind tour. Seneca's incredibly dramatic life, feeding into this profound philosophy about time.
Okay, so after hearing all that the near-death escapes, the emperors, the exile, this radical idea that life isn't short, we just waste it, and that memory is our true bank account, what really sticks with you listening right now.
Yeah, think about that time audit. If you're honest, using Seneca's definition, how much of your life so far feels like it was truly yours? How long does your life feel by that measure? And what does that make you think?
And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. Seneca says, live for yourself, carve out that time. But what if, realistically, you can't just quit your job or ditch all your responsibilities? Is there maybe a way to transform some of that time for others? Could you find genuine interest or purpose or a sense of growth within the things you feel you have to do?
Like, could you reframe obligatory tasks as opportunities for your development, your contribution, making them feel less like time taken from you and more like time invested by you, even if indirectly?
Exactly. Can you love your job, as they say, or find real meaning in required tasks? Does that change Seneca's calculation? Or does it just prove his point in a different way? Something to ponder.